Tom had never thought he would live with an alien. He was just a regular guy from Earth, worked from home, liked pizza, and had a pet plant he named Spike. But everything changed when Earth joined the galactic harmony pact. Suddenly humans were no longer the newest or weirdest species in the universe. The Galactic Council started something called the Cultural Roommate Program. It was simple: one alien, one human living together, learning from each other. Tom didn't expect to get picked. He only signed up for fun, thinking it would never happen, but one morning he got the message on his hollow screen: congratulations, you have been matched, prepared to meet your alien roommate in 3 days. Tom stared at the screen. Well, guess I better clean the apartment. The day finally arrived. Tom stood in his small but clean living room, nervously holding a tray of snacks. He didn't know if aliens even ate snacks, but it felt polite. He heard a soft hum outside his door, followed by a light chime. His heart jumped. He opened the door and saw Zell. Zell was tall, maybe 7 feet. Their body was smooth and shiny like glass mixed with watercolors, swirled under their skin, changing slowly from blue to green to silver. Their eyes were large and bright, glowing softly with a purple tint. They wore a long, simple robe that looked like it was made of stars. Hello, Zell said in a calm voice. I am Zell. I come from the planet Arvani. It is a pleasure to meet you. Damn, Tom blinked. Wow, hi, come in, please. Do you want some chips? Zell stepped inside, looking around with curious eyes. I do not consume chips, but thank you. May I scan your couch? Sure, Tom said, unsure what that meant. Zell touched the couch lightly. A small light glowed from their fingers as they scanned the fabric. Interesting texture, comfortable for sitting. May I sit? Of course, it's your couch too. Now Zell sat down, their tall form folding gently like a ribbon. The couch creaked a little, but held. Tom sat across from them, trying not to stare. So, Arvani, huh? What's it like? It is quiet, Zell said. Our oceans are deep and glow at night. Our cities are made of crystal. We communicate mostly through thought. Emotion is rare. Tom nodded slowly. Wow, Earth is not like that. I know. I studied Earth customs for 3 days. Only 3 days? Yes. That is the standard preparation time. Know about pizza, dancing, and Netflix. I do not understand them yet. Tom laughed. You'll learn, just don't watch anything with explosions right away. It might be too much. Zell blinked, noted. As the evening went on, Tom showed Zell around the apartment. It was small, just a living room, 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a shared bathroom. This is the bathroom, Tom said, opening the door. It's where humans wash, brush teeth, and take showers. But important thing, always knock first before entering. Why? Privacy. Humans don't like being seen without clothes. Zell tilted their head. Understood. I remember. Tom pointed to the bedrooms. This one is yours. I added extra blankets in case you get cold. I wasn't sure what temperature Iranians like. I appreciate your effort. I do not sleep, but I will rest quietly during your sleep cycle. Cool, cool, Tom said, rubbing his neck. This was going to take some getting used to. That night, Tom lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He could hear soft humming from Zell's room. Not loud, just a gentle sound like wind passing through glass. It was oddly calming. This is so weird, Tom whispered to himself, but kind of cool. He had no idea what the next days would bring. Living with an alien was going to be full of surprises. He just hoped none of them were too strange or embarrassing. The first few days of living with Zell were different. Tom tried to be a good host, but he often felt unsure of what to say or do. Zell, on the other hand, seemed calm all the time, too calm. They moved slowly, spoke softly, and stared at everything like it was the first time they'd seen it. On the third morning, Tom walked into the kitchen and saw Zell standing in front of the microwave. What are you doing? Tom asked, rubbing his eyes. I am watching the spinning plate, Zell replied. It rotates at a perfect speed. It is peaceful, Tom yawned. That's just reheating my eggs. I understand. Still peaceful, Tom chuckled. All right, then, want to try some? No, but I enjoyed the smell. It reminds me of the warm sand clouds on our vanny. Tom wasn't sure what sand clouds were, but it sounded nice. Later that day, Tom tried to explain basic Earth things. He pulled out a board game. This is called checkers, Tom said. Simple game. You move pieces and try to jump over the other players' pieces. Zell stared at the board. What is the purpose? To win, Tom said. It's a fun challenge. Zell paused, then moved one piece. I believe I am enjoying this fun. They played for 20 minutes. Zell didn't blink the whole time. Somehow Zell won every game. Tom leaned back. Okay, you're way too good at this. Zell nodded. I used to plan crystal path routes on my planet. This game is easier. Tom shook his head, laughing. All right, alien genius. Well, try something I'm good at next. In the evenings, they often sat together in the living room. Tom would watch a movie, and Zell would ask endless Questions why is the man shouting Zell asked one night during an action movie. He's angry Tom explained his car exploded Zell blinked that does not seem. Like a reason to scream so loudly well humans have big feelings Zell tilted. Their head Arvanians do not scream even when our crystals shatter Tom. Looked over at them that sounds painful it is, but we are trained to remain calm. Tom nodded slowly yeah humans aren't great at that Zell didn't respond they. Just kept watching eyes glowing soft purple, a color Tom was learning meant they were thinking by the end of the week they had started to learn each other's routines. Tom made coffee every morning Zell didn't drink anything but absorbed light through their skin. Instead Tom liked loud music Zell preferred silence but said they didn't mind the vibrations Tom needed sleep Zell didn't they just sat still at night like a silent lamp despite the differences something about their living together felt easy comfortable sometimes Tom would catch himself talking to Zell about his day, even when he didn't need to. Zell listened without interrupting. They didn't always understand the emotions, but they tried. I had a weird meeting at work today, Tom said one evening. Zell looked at him. Why was it weird? My boss kept talking about numbers that made no sense, and I forgot my notes. That is not ideal, Zell said softly. Tom smiled. Yeah, but it's fine happens sometimes. I will remind you about your notes tomorrow. Tom paused. Thanks, that actually helped there. Were still a few awkward moments. Once Tom burped after drinking soda. Zell gasped. Did you malfunction? No, Tom laughed. That's normal, humans burp when gas builds up. Zell looked alarmed. Your body releases gas without warning. Yep. Zell took out their translator and made a note. Earth human unpredictable gas sounds. Tom rolled his eyes. You're never going to let that go. Zell blinked. It is important data. Despite the small missteps, Tom was starting to enjoy having Zell around. Life was more interesting. Every normal thing now felt new because Zell saw it with fresh eyes. Tom didn't know where this whole exchange program would lead, but one thing was clear: living with an alien wasn't just about learning, it was about seeing life differently, and for the first time in a long while Tom felt like something big and maybe even strange was just around the corner. It started like a normal morning. The sun peeked through the window, birds chirped outside. Tom was half awake, walking to the bathroom with his towel over his shoulder, and his eyes barely open. He didn't think about locking the door. It was early. Zell was always quiet at this time, usually in the living room meditating or scanning something strange like the toaster. Tom stepped into the bathroom, turned on the shower, and got in the warm water helped him wake up. He started humming a song, feeling relaxed, but then it happened. Just as Tom was reaching for the shampoo, the bathroom door opened with a soft whoosh. Zell, Tom shouted, jumping and quickly covering himself with the towel he had nearby. What are you doing? Zell froze at the doorway, eyes wide, glowing with a sharp teal light. I apologize, Zell said quickly. I did not know you were inside. The door was unlocked. Tom stared, still holding the towel tightly. You have to knock first. Humans don't like being seen like this. Zell looked confused. I remembered your instruction, but I scanned and found no movement, no sound. I thought the room was empty. Well, clearly it wasn't, Tom said, red in the face. I will leave now. Zell backed out of the bathroom and closed the door gently. Tom stood there, heart pounding. Oh man, he whispered to himself, that was not how I wanted to start my day. When Tom came out later, dressed and slightly calmer, Zell was sitting perfectly still on the couch. Their skin was glowing light green, a color Tom hadn't seen before. I am very sorry, Zell said quietly. I did not intend to disturb you. Tom sighed and sat on the chair across from them. I know it was an accident, but humans feel embarrassed when someone sees them like that. Zell tilted their head. But why? I do not understand. You are not injured. You were simply uncovered. Tom looked away. It's a cultural thing. It's about privacy and well, feeling exposed. Exposed, Zell repeated. That word has many meanings. Tom gave a half smile. Yeah, this one means vulnerable. Zell looked at their own hands, which now had soft lines of gold flickering under the surface. When I saw you, something happened. Tom raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? My internal energy changed. There was a shift in my senses. My skin reacted. I have never experienced this before. Tom sat up straighter. Are you okay? Is this bad? No, it is confusing. Arvanians do not usually form physical reactions to sight. We sense patterns, light, and emotion, but when I saw you, I felt a new wave of signals inside me, strange warmth, a pull. Tom blinked. You're saying you had a reaction? Zell nodded. Yes, my kind calls it a bond response. It is rare. We do not fully understand it, but it usually happens during deep emotional connection or under sudden intense contact. Tom Swallowed and this happened because you saw me in the shower, I believe so, Zell. Said they sat in silence for a moment. Tom felt awkward but also curious so. What does this bond response do? I am not sure yet, Zell said. Honestly, it may fade. Or it may grow stronger. If it does, I may become more attuned to your presence. I might even sense your emotions before you speak them. Tom looked down. Well, that's kind of personal. Yes, Zell agreed, which is why I will try to control it. The rest of the day felt strange. Tom went about his routine, but he kept glancing at Zell, who was unusually quiet. Their skin glowed a soft, steady gold now. Not dangerous, not scary, just different. Tom didn't know what this bond response meant or what it would lead to, but one thing was clear: something had changed between them, and even though the moment had been embarrassing, maybe even a little ridiculous, it had opened a new door, not just in their living space, but in their connection. The next few days felt different. At first, Tom tried to pretend nothing had changed, but every time he looked at Zell, he noticed something: the glowing skin, the way Zell seemed to be paying a little more attention to him, like they were watching, not just looking. Zell didn't seem as distant anymore either. In fact, they were almost too calm, a little too present. Every time Tom dropped a cup or tripped over his shoes, Zell would be right there, steady and alert, like they could sense it before it happened. Tom hadn't even realized he'd become used to having Zell around until one morning when he spilled coffee on his favorite shirt. "Oh no," Tom shouted, wiping the stain. "Why can't I be more careful?" Immediately Zell was by his side, their hand hovering over Tom's shirt. Tom didn't even have time to blink before the stain disappeared completely. "What did you do?" Tom asked. Shocked, Zell lowered their hands slowly. "It is an Arvananian ability, we call it cleansing energy. It can heal minor damage to objects or people." Tom blinked. Wait, you're saying you just fixed my shirt with no tools or anything?" Zell nodded calmly. "Yes, it was a minor task." Tom stared at his shirt. "Oh, that was amazing." Zell didn't respond. They just stood there watching Tom closely, their skin shifting from a soft blue to a deeper green. It was a subtle change, but Tom noticed it. "You're really doing that because of the bond?" Tom asked, feeling a little nervous. "I believe so," Zell replied. "The connection has made me more aware of your needs. It is difficult to explain." "Yeah," Tom said, glancing at the spot where the stain had been. "It's kind of weird, but also awesome." Zell didn't smile, but their eyes glowed just a little brighter. "I am glad you find it useful." That afternoon, Tom had to go to work. He stood by the door, adjusting his jacket. "All right, I'll be back in a few hours. Just stay out of my way." "Okay." Zell didn't respond immediately. They were standing still, watching Tom with an unreadable expression. "I will stay in your space. I will not interfere." Tom grinned. "Thanks, I'll be back before you know it." But as he left, he couldn't shake the feeling that Zell was watching him a little too closely, like they were waiting for something, or maybe sensing something. Tom couldn't understand. The day passed uneventfully at work. Tom tried to focus on his tasks, but something was always in the back of his mind. He couldn't stop thinking about Zell. The way they reacted to him, the way their abilities seemed to be growing. Was this the effect of the bond, or was it something else? When Tom returned home, he expected Zell to be in the living room meditating or scanning the microwave again, but instead Zell was standing by the window looking out into the city. "Hey, you good?" Tom asked, kicking off his shoes. Zell turned slowly, their skin now glowing a calm gold. "I sensed a disturbance in the air." "There was a change?" Tom raised an eyebrow. "Disturbance in the air?" Zell nodded. "Yes, a fluctuation in the energy around you. I felt it when you left, and I have felt it again now." Tom's heart skipped a beat. "Are you saying you felt me leave?" Zell didn't seem to understand the question fully. "Yes, and I feel your return. It is strong. It is a connection." Tom swallowed hard. "You can feel it?" "I can." Tom couldn't explain it, but something in him shifted. It was like the bond between them had deepened in the hours he'd been away. It was subtle but real. "Okay," Tom said, suddenly feeling a little uneasy. "This is strange, but okay, let's just take it slow." "All right, I don't know what this all means." Yet Zell gave a small nod. "I will wait for your lead. I do not wish to make you uncomfortable." Tom smiled. "Thanks, I think we'll be okay." That night, as they sat together in silence, Tom realized how much Zell's presence had become a part of his life. The alien was no longer just a roommate. Zell was part of something bigger, something he couldn't quite understand. The bond between them wasn't just an accident anymore. It was changing both of them, whether they were ready for it or not. Tom leaned back, looking up at the stars outside the window. He had no idea where this strange connection would lead, but one thing was clear: everything in his life had just become a lot more interesting. The next few days felt like they were living in a strange kind of Rhythm Tom started to notice the little things how Zell seemed to always be. Nearby when he needed something, it wasn't like Zell was following him around, it was more like Zell had an uncanny ability to know when Tom needed help or when he was about to make a mistake. One morning, Tom was in the kitchen trying to make pancakes. The batter splashed everywhere and Tom groaned in frustration. He was about to wipe the mess when Zell walked in holding a small cloth in their hand. I felt the disturbance, Zell said, their skin flashing a soft pink. I came to assist. Tom raised an eyebrow. Zell, you're really starting to scare me with how much you. Since Zell looked confused, I do not wish to scare you, I am simply learning how to be more helpful. Tom chuckled. Well, you're definitely good at it. Zell didn't smile, but their eyes shimmered with a soft purple glow. It was strange how their emotions were so clear now. Tom had begun to pick up on the patterns, the colors in Zell's skin. He started to realize that Zell's glow wasn't just a physical feature, it was like a reflection of their mood. All right, Tom said, giving up on making pancakes for the moment. What do you recommend for breakfast? Zell tilted their head. I have read about a dish called oatmeal. It seems popular among your kind. I will prepare it for you. Tom was about to protest, but something in Zell's calm demeanor made him pause. Okay, oatmeal sounds good. Later that afternoon, Tom was in the living room trying to catch up on some work. He had his laptop open, but his focus kept drifting towards Zell the way they were sitting across the room, legs folded in perfect stillness, looking like they were deep in thought. Tom couldn't help but wonder what it was like inside Zell's mind. Was it always so calm, so knowing? Suddenly Zell spoke. I have been thinking. They began, their voice calm and measured. About the bond response. It is growing, it is stronger when we are close. Tom froze. What do you mean stronger? Zell looked at him directly. When we are near each other, I feel a connection not just to your actions, but to your thoughts. I can feel your emotions even before you speak them. It is not always clear, but it is there. Tom's heart skipped a beat. He had suspected something like this was happening, but hearing it from Zell made it more real. You can feel my emotions? Tom asked, his voice barely a whisper. Yes, Zell replied. It is a strange sensation. It is like sensing energy that surrounds you. Tom swallowed hard. Okay, that's kind of overwhelming. Zell tilted their head. You do not like it? No, it's not that, Tom said quickly. It's just a lot to take in. I mean, I didn't expect this kind of connection to happen. It's unexpected. Zell was silent for a moment, their eyes glowing faintly. I understand. This bond is new, it is unfamiliar to both of us. Tom ran a hand through his hair. Yeah, it's definitely something neither of us were prepared for. The next day, things became even more complicated. Tom had decided to meet a friend for lunch, and when he returned, he found Zell standing at the door, a look of concern on their face. I felt it again, Zell said softly, a strong wave. It was different from before. Tom's stomach dropped. Wait, what are you talking about? What wave? Zell's voice was calm, but there was an undeniable edge to it. It was a surge of emotion, anger, fear, and confusion. I thought something was wrong. I thought you might be in danger. Tom stared at them, feeling a mix of awe and discomfort. You felt that? You felt my emotions like that? Yes, Zell said, stepping closer. It was overwhelming. I felt it across the room. It was powerful. Tom closed his eyes, trying to process what Zell had just said. He hadn't realized his emotions were so strong that they affected someone else. I didn't know I was that upset, Tom admitted. I just got into a small argument with a friend, but I didn't expect it to be that intense. Zell took another step closer. It is not just about the argument, there is something else. I am sensing a deeper connection between us. It is growing more powerful with each passing day. Tom hesitated, his mind racing. So this bond isn't just about helping each other or sharing space, it's more than that. Zell nodded. Yes, it is more, and I do not know what will happen if it grows stronger. Tom looked down at the floor, his mind spinning. What did this mean? Was this bond something they could control, or was it going to take over their lives? Zell's voice broke through his thoughts. I will be here, Tom, to help you understand too. Help both of us understand. Tom looked up at them, realizing something important. I'm not sure where this is going, Zell, but I'm glad I'm not doing this alone. Zell's eyes glowed softly. Neither am I. The next few days seemed to slip into an odd rhythm. Every day Tom woke up with a quiet unease in the back of his mind. The connection with Zell was growing, and with it came strange feelings, both thrilling and unsettling. Tom had tried to go back to his usual routine, work, grocery shopping, even trying to enjoy a little peace and quiet on his days off, but no matter where he went, it felt like Zell was always nearby, and the bond that Strange invisible thread between them was never far behind. One evening Tom came home after a long day at work hopping to relax, but when he opened the door he was immediately hit with a wave of something. He couldn't place it, but it was strong, a feeling that he hadn't expected. Zell, Tom called out, stepping inside. The air felt different charge. Almost. Zell appeared from the kitchen looking unusually tense. Their skin flickered between gold and deep purple, a clear sign that something was off. I felt it again, Zell said softly, their voice almost a whisper. The connection. It's stronger. I can feel your thoughts now, Tom. Tom froze, the weight of their words sinking in. You can feel my thoughts. Zell nodded, their eyes glowing faintly. Not all of them, but certain ones, the ones that are the most intense. Your thoughts, your emotions, I can feel them almost as if they are mine. Tom stepped closer, trying to make sense of it, but how? I don't even know what I'm thinking half the time. How can you? Zell's gaze softened. It is not about what you think, it is about the intensity, the emotions you feel. They create waves, ripples, and I can sense them now. Tom rubbed his forehead, a headache slowly forming. This is getting a little out of hand, isn't it? I do not wish to overwhelm you, Zell said, but it is difficult to ignore the pull. The bond between us is growing stronger. It is not something I can control fully. Tom sighed. He was beginning to feel like he was losing control over his own life. This is a lot. Zell stepped closer, their presence oddly calming, despite the heaviness in the room. I will help you understand. We can take this one step at a time. We do not have to rush. The following days passed with more quiet tension. Tom tried to go back to work, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Zell was always just behind him, observing him. It wasn't in a bad way, but it was still uncomfortable. One afternoon, Tom was sitting at his desk at work, staring at his computer screen. He was trying to focus, but his thoughts kept wandering. His mind kept drifting back to Zell and what they had said. I can feel your thoughts. He rubbed his eyes, trying to clear his head. He needed to focus, but as he glanced at his phone, he saw a text message from Zell. Are you okay? I sensed confusion. Tom blinked. It wasn't the first time Zell had sensed his emotions, but this felt different. He